Hi, today's bird is 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 1, and it says, "We then, as workers together with him, beseech you also that you receive not the grace of God in vain." So there's the grace of God, which is a supernatural empowerment from God to do the things that he requires of us to do and that we couldn't do from the human standpoint. And it's possible for one to receive the grace of God in vain by not utilizing this grace. In Titus chapter 2, verse 11 to 12, it says, "For the grace of God that brings salvation has appeared to all men, teaching us that, denying ungodliness and worldly lusts, we should live soberly, righteously, and godly in this present world." Now, for one not to receive the grace of God that brings salvation in vain, that person has to utilize this grace to live soberly, righteously, and godly in this present world. And it's possible because when one receives that grace, that means that person has been made righteous on the inside. And so on the outside, we can now live out that righteousness in this world. In 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 10, it says, "But by the grace of God and what I am, and his grace which was bestowed upon me was not in vain. But I labored more abundantly than they all, yet not I, but the grace of God which was with me." So there are other graces that God gives to individuals, to churches, and they have to give themselves to the demands of those graces. They have to labor with those graces. And for example, one may receive the grace to pray, the grace for prayer, and they have to now give themselves to prayer, to that grace. Unless if they don't do so, the grace is going to be in vain. And also in 2 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 1, it says, "Moreover, brethren, we do you to wit of the grace of God bestowed on the churches of Macedonia." So they had the grace of God for giving, and they had to labor with that grace by giving. They had to utilize that grace. And if someone has that kind of grace, the grace for giving, they actually are able to give more than other people. That's to say, they give lavishly, sometimes without even thinking. It may not make sense to other people. But that's what the grace of God does. That people are empowered to do the things that they couldn't do from the human standpoint. And they can even do it more than other people that don't have these graces. And we have to labor with the graces we have so that it is not in vain.